Hello and welcome to Technically Edinburgh, a podcast for and about technicians at the University of Edinburgh. My name is Lee Murphy.
And I'm Charli Corcoran. Today we're joined by Nicola Cuthbert, Researcher Development Manager at the Institute for Academic Development, and Tim Goodman, HR Partner Talent and Development. Nicola and Tim are joining us to discuss the Edinburgh Technical Collaboration ahead of the relaunch of the mentoring programme in autumn 2025. Welcome to the podcast, Tim and Nicola.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks, happy to be here.
So let's get started then. Can you introduce yourselves to our listeners, please? Nicola, do you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. So, I'm Nicola. I'm Researcher Development Manager at the Institute for Academic Development, or IED for short. And I manage the programme for research staff, which is an umbrella term we use to describe postdocs, fellows, research associates and technicians. And I work on collaborative projects with HR around technician support and induction support.
Great. So my name's Tim Goodman. As Charli, as you said, I am a HR partner on the talent and development team. And I also have the pleasure of being HR's representative on the technician steering committee. So in addition to collaborative roles, as Nicola mentioned, and various projects in the kind of development, talent attraction space in my day job, I also get to immerse myself in all things technician in all that spare time I have.
So much spare time. So we're here to talk about the Edinburgh Technical Collaboration. So for anyone who hasn't heard of it, could you give us an overview of the collaboration and its aims?
Yeah, sure. So the Edinburgh Technical Collaboration, or ETC for short, started back in 2022 when the University of Edinburgh was successful in winning funding from the Gatsby Technician Commitment Collaboration Fund. So we had decided to apply for funding because HR and ID have collaborated already on a number of career development initiatives for technicians. And we really wanted to build on this and set up something that supported technicians to expand their networks and develop in their careers. So we also had the idea that this could be across the whole of Edinburgh, allowing technicians the opportunity to engage with a wider pool of people in different institutions that they wouldn't normally have the chance to meet. So it's really great that the other three Edinburgh universities were really keen to be involved. So ultimately, with the collaboration, we want to highlight the breadth of support that's available to technicians across Edinburgh and across different institutions and from different colleagues. So we're aware that technicians sometimes can just be focused on their work and working quite independently and not aware of kind of people that they can engage with. And that can be out with their institution, but Edinburgh itself is a really large institution, and imagine you don't get to meet people normally. So it kind of just provides that opportunity to meet up with others. We also know technicians play a crucial role in supporting research, teaching and students, but are sometimes overlooked when it comes to their own recognition and career development. So we felt that by creating a sense of community through the mentoring and job shadowing, it would provide more options to technicians in these areas. So that was really kind of the reason why we wanted to start the collaboration and specifically the mentoring and job shadowing.
Oh, that's great. I mean, as I remember it, the Gatsby funding, it was quite general, that you could apply for that funding for lots of different ideas. What was it about kind of mentoring and that kind of job shadowing that you thought was really important?
So I think it came from, we just had the idea, I think, that we wanted to support technicians to kind of have those conversations and have that support. I think at the time there was an MI Talent, is that right?
Yeah, MI Talent, yeah.
Yeah, I think there was a report that came out that talked about that as well. So I think we got the idea from that. So when we applied for the funding, we thought it'd be really useful to employ an intern who could do some kind of research into what other institutions were doing, a kind of benchmarking around what they were doing. And we also did some interviews and focus groups with Edinburgh technicians just to get a sense of what they wanted and needed. And from that, one of his recommendations was the mentoring and job shadowing. So we felt we wanted to go down that route.
That's great that you had kind of got that background information first. You know, what did technicians need? You know, what could you do to support them? That's great. So, you know, once you've got this scheme up and running, then in practice, then how does it work?
So we have a SharePoint space, so that was part of our funding as well. We actually applied for follow-on funding after the PhD intern that gave us the opportunity to kind of build on the recommendation of developing the mentoring and job shadowing. So we were able to put that towards developing the SharePoint site. And this has all the information you need to know about the ETC and the different roles. So all technicians across the 4 Edinburgh universities have access to this site. And it's where you would go to apply to be the mentor, mentee, or host a placement or undertake a placement. And technicians can apply to do all of these or any of these. So on the site, there's further information for each of the roles around how long it would take, the benefits that you would get out of the roles, how to make the most opportunity and the skills needed, and so on. So the collaboration team would do the matching, and if you're successful in being matched, you receive an email notifying you of this and asking you both to make contact and take forward that kind of mentoring partnership or the job placement. So in terms of expectations, we as a collaboration team are looking for information that will support us to make the match. So technicians applying really have to be clear about what they want, the support they're willing to offer. And it's then up to the technicians to take this forward and organise and plan their placements and mentor meetings. So they really need to be proactive and organised in terms of making the placements or the meetings happen after being matched. Another thing maybe to mention in terms of us managing expectations is that we really can't guarantee to match everyone. We will certainly try our best and we really hope we can, but it really depends on how many technicians register and what they're looking to do. So in previous 2 intakes, we've had lots of interest in technicians wanting to undertake a job shadowing placement, but not as many hosts, and it's similar to maybe more mentees to mentors. So it's just maybe a request to consider doing these support roles as well, because you can still get so much out of them in terms of your career development and your own kind of learning and skills.
And that's great that you've got this SharePoint site, so we'll definitely put a link to that in the show notes. That'll be really helpful.
And I would also add that you can, if you'd like to, if you're feeling ambitious and would like to host a job placement and to be a mentor, you're certainly not limited to just one. I know people at kind of sort of mid-level in their careers who actually have registered or expressed interest in both mentoring and being a mentee. So there's really no limit to, as much as you'd like to get involved, there's an opportunity for you.
Should we talk more about the job shadowing scheme as well? Just quickly, just now, if I know that wasn't a question that was on our list that we sent you, but just you mentioning it there, Tim, just made me realize we talked about the mentoring scheme, but what's the job shadowing scheme?
Yeah, so job shadowing it gives you an opportunity to really experience a workday in the life of a technician, either at kind of your institution or at one of the other institutions. And it's a really, we recommend sort of one day, but again, if you're feeling ambitious and can find the time to do multiple days over the course of a few months, you're certainly welcome to. But really the expectation on job shadowing is that you spend a day either in another facility, institution, or you host someone doing so. And it's a great way to look at developing your confidence, additional skills, as well as sort of seeing good practice, seeing what happens. It's always amazing whenever across the university, whenever someone sees what's happening in another area and has this light bulb moment of, oh, they have the same challenge as I do, and we can, discuss ways to solve them. You're not stuck in your own department, your own group, your own whatever it is. That really opens doors to do that. And you can also, if you're wanting to do a job shadowing in maybe a facility that's slightly different than your own, if you're looking to maybe pivot in your career, you can kind of find out, start to set a plan for how you could develop and potentially maybe make a move at some point or progress in your career in another way.
And it's across all 4 universities. So if someone from Edinburgh wanted to job shadow at Heriot-Watt, that's an option. You can go and see how they do it.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. And I suppose that's what would be keen to happen. Have that experience of a different institution in a different area as well. and just see how they work. So definitely, yeah.
So who's the scheme aimed at? I think probably technicians would be the answer.
Yeah.
All technicians, or like
technicians in Edinburgh.
Technicians in Edinburgh.
Yeah, all technicians. So on the registration form, we do ask for your role, but we're not limiting anyone. It's anyone that feels that they're in that kind of technical role and that would benefit from the experience or the opportunity.
So technicians at all career stages, so early career, mid-career.
Yeah.
People who've been here years.
Yeah, and I can also say that with some of our work, Charli, you'll be familiar with some of our discussions, Technician Steering Committee. We've really taken, I think, a very inclusive view of what a definition of a technician is. It's not kind of purely limited to, research technicians or purely limited to someone whose job family is strictly technician. There are hybrid roles out there. There are people who, different roles that are technical in function, but may not be classified as such. So really it's a very inclusive view, aimed at any technician or staff member who identifies their role as technical, with the caveat that, if you're looking for a job placement and no other institution has a facility like yours, you may have to do it in a different facility, or, look for mentoring someone outside of your area, but you can still get all the benefits regardless.
If I could ask you a little bit more about the mentoring scheme, I'm kind of interested in the idea that you don't necessarily get enough mentors, and just why do you think you're not getting enough mentors? What do you think is holding people back to volunteer to be a mentor?
Yeah, I think we see this both with ETC as well as other mentoring programs across the university and kind of across probably higher education in general, where people maybe feel they don't have the expertise or they don't have the required experience to be a mentor. They've kind of built it up into something where you need to be at this super senior level and have all the answers. And that's very much not the role of a mentor. The role of the mentor is to have the conversations and, provide experience and advice where you can, but it's really to help a mentee figure out their own personal development. So I think the biggest obstacle is people thinking they're not qualified to be a mentor.
No, I think that's true. I definitely felt that. Last time you guys ran this scheme, is like I couldn't be a mentor because I've only been here 4 years. So yeah.
Yeah, so you don't have to be a kind of old and grey like me. You can be still quite new in your career and be a really useful mentor to somebody who's kind of following in your footsteps. I think technicians often don't have that kind of confidence in themselves to say, look, I'm a mentor, I am good enough. So yeah, the encouragement.
It's also thinking, some people think that they're just going to get that development out of being mentored, but actually being a mentor yourself, you get so much out of it. You kind of develop your own skills. You get something back from the mentee as well.
So what kind of time commitment would it take to be a mentor, or the mentee? What for that program? You mentioned the job shadowing is about a day, but I guess it's a bit longer for a mentee.
Yeah, I mean, for a mentor, it's really up to both partners to really decide how often you'd like to meet. A mentoring program that I participated in as a mentor, we'd set up monthly meetings and just kind of chat for 30 to 45 minutes once a month. I would definitely say mentoring, both from a mentor and a mentee perspective, you get out of it what you put into it, and it can kind of take as little or as much time as you mutually agree. But I think that's the important part. And just to repeat myself, is you get out of it what you put into it, and you can make the time commitment work for you. I do recognize that we are all busy and we're all being asked to do more kind of with less time and less resources. So this actually fits in, I think, really well, and actually could very much in sort of the current context of time crunch and everyone's kind of very, very time hungry or time starving. I don't know what the phrase is.
So what's the process then for signing up if we've got people interested?
So we have the welcome event and kind of information session October 22nd. And then starting in November, we will open up a Microsoft form. You can fill out a form, and then over the course, we'll keep those open kind of through November. And then kind of December probably won't be too much happening, but I think we'll aim for December and January. More January, the ETC team will meet and discuss matches, and we're hoping kind of starting from February that you should find out if we've successfully been able to pair you up and allocate a mentor, mentee, or job shadowing place.
And can I just check if you've signed up previously as a job shadowing place or mentee, mentor, do you have to do it again this year? You're kind of re-signing up.
Yeah, I would ask that you re-register so we've got that kind of batch of people registering this year that we can match. It's also worth mentioning when you sign up on the registration form, we're asking for information to enable us to kind of do that matching, and it's around like what you'd be able to offer as a mentor or job host, or what you would be looking to get out. So there's options such as topics such as developing networks, career development experience, getting inspiration for the role. So it's really just thinking about that and what you want to get out of your experience, and that will help us do the matching.
Okay, do you need information about time, commitment, availability, or anything like that?
No, because I think, as Tim said, it's up to the people that apply and that are successful to make those partnerships and placements work. So if you're signing up, we kind of hope that you've put that time aside, or you're willing to make that time to do both those things, or either of those things.
Is there any, sorry, I'm going off track here. Is there any training or support for mentors available? So if someone's like, oh, I'm not sure if I can do it, but I'll sign up, is there any kind of continued support from the collaboration for the people?
So we do have some resources on the SharePoint site, and we do periodically check and make sure they're still fit for purpose and still offer support. So there wouldn't say there's kind of training per se, because it's going to be a different relationship and look different in practice for each person, but we do have a good assortment of resources that are available to support you.
I'm looking at your SharePoint just now. That's cool. So yeah, there's how to be a good mentor and what skills do I need kind of stuff on your SharePoint, which is great. Everyone can be a mentor. Go be a mentor. I've lost my questions now, though. Sorry. Lee, what's the next question, Lee?
Well, I guess I'd like to know what is the long-term vision for this ETC scheme? Where do you see it going?
Yeah, so we're very happy to continue to run the scheme if it's something that technicians are interested in and want. So we've actually decided to run it every 2 years. And this was because in our second intake, so we ran it 1 year and immediately ran it the year after, but numbers were quite low. So we felt that running it every other year would perhaps give technicians time to really think about it as a career development opportunity, and perhaps have time to do it. Maybe doing it 2 years in a row is too much to ask of potential mentors or hosts. So the future is that we want to still offer this if it's something that technicians are interested in and engaging in, certainly.
So I guess it's down to us then to, engage with the scheme, volunteer our time.
And maybe what I would say is we're really keen to have some good news stories or perhaps case studies to promote and showcase the scheme. So that would maybe be something that we're keen to do in between these kind of intakes. So if it's a request, perhaps if anybody has had a really great experience or does so in the next round, to consider telling us about this and contributing to writing something for us so that we can build up a bank of good news stories to celebrate the scheme, all the great work that gets done, and I suppose to support technician and registration for future years.
And do you have any good stories?
Yeah, so we've had great feedback, but I've had a few technicians have reported back that they've had a really positive experience. One of them has felt that it's been life-changing for their career. So I think they talked about how the original goal of the scheme was expanding their networks, and they felt by the end of the kind of 12-month period, they got so much more from that. They said they had experience of other institutions, they had become a member of different external groups, had met countless technicians who could relate to the challenges they faced, and they had achieved professional registration. So they felt that they had that goal and they really kind of exceeded it. Other technicians that we've heard from just talk about, they felt it was really positive just to have that encouragement to do different things, such as attend Technicians Week, which is run at Edinburgh every year, and take part in activities that you kind of meet people and build contacts. They've talked about professional registration again, confidence to apply for. One technician applied for the Associate Fellowship of the Higher Education Academy and got that. So I think that was kind of an outcome of their partnership, getting that suggestion and to apply for that. And the feedback that one technician had said that although they did it a while ago, they do feel a different person to how they were then. They felt that the mentor did help in that process. So yeah, really kind of positive stories around just given confidence, given that kind of encouragement to do things that they perhaps wouldn't have done ordinarily, and encourage them to meet people and take part in things.
And it's really cool to hear things like that, because we hear about a lot of really supportive line managers out there who are really good at offering kind of development opportunities, but sometimes it's that outside perspective that can offer something that just ends up being such a difference maker.
It's really good there. Those kind of testimonies highlight that it's not necessarily that you need mentored on something really specific about your role or your job. It's just everything. Yeah. So just everything that you experience on a day-to-day basis, a mentor or mentee relationship can help with.
And yeah, and it's often, a lot of those things just stem from a simple, hey, have you thought about going for professional registration, or have you thought about, this membership or this conference, and and that can, you don't know where it will lead, which is really cool from as kind of a training and development nerd. It's really, I get really excited and have a huge smile on my face when I hear things like that.
I think another positive that I've heard from people is it's not just stopped the minute that the mentoring relationship or the placement has stopped, that some of them have maintained informal relationships that since then, and they feel that they can still go back to their mentor and ask questions out with the kind of scheme timeline. So I think that's really nice as well. It just shows that they've kind of built those networks and connections that are long lasting.
Well, you've convinced me. But if there's a technician listening to this podcast and is kind of swithering whether to be involved or not, what would you say to convince them?
Do it. Apply.
Yeah, you have absolutely nothing to lose. And if we've heard about all these success stories, if you're unsure, come along to the information session, have a chat, ask those specific questions, find out about the real world experiences. We'll have speakers from each of the institutions to talk a little bit about their own experience. You can ask questions. You can don't let the kind of fear or uncertainty of not knowing stop you from even kind of exploring the possibility.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Well, it's been great listening to you both today. And yeah, thank you for putting on the ETC. It's great having these this support from IAD and HR. So thank you very much.
Yes, thanks for coming along and telling us all about it today. And if anyone is thinking about joining, your information evening is the information evening. Well, it's not school. Information event is the 22nd of October.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's online as well.
Yeah, it's online.
Yeah.
And yeah, thank you, Lee. Thank you, Charli. And in addition to your listeners, I also look forward to seeing your applications to be a mentor, host a job placement.
Great. Thank you very much. Bye. Thanks for listening to this episode of Technically Edinburgh, the podcast for and about technicians at the University of Edinburgh. There's quite a lot going on over the next month or so, quite a few deadlines coming up. So just wanted to talk quickly about a few of those. As we've just heard, the Edinburgh Technical Collaboration is relaunching and they're holding their launch event on October 22nd. UK ITSS has a few career development things going on too. The Herschel Programme for Women in Technical Leadership applications close on November 4th. The Technical Teaching Recognition Programme applications close on the 7th of November. And you have until November 21st to apply for the Technician Career Development Programme. So get those applications in and don't miss these great opportunities. If you don't already follow both the podcast and the University of Edinburgh Technicians on LinkedIn and Blue Sky, please do. We share updates on all things technicians that might be relevant to you, so it's worth a follow. Thanks to everyone involved in this month's episode. Please follow and rate us on Spotify and leave a comment if you have a few moments. And of course, consider signing up to the Edinburgh Technical Collaboration. See you next time.